So, Judi, what's the biggest mistake people make before a neurology visit?
Walking in unprepared and walking out misunderstood.
Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to learn how you can be prepared for your neurology visit.
Welcome to the Cogni-Thrive podcast, where we help you understand the signs of early cognitive decline and the many ways available to keep your brain healthy. Judi Pritchard is a certified cognitive coach with more than 30 years of experience, and her company, Cogni-Thrive, provides comprehensive tools to support cognitive resilience as you age. Join Judi and her husband, Philip, as they continue to spread the message that dementia is not definite.
Welcome in, everybody, to another podcast. All right, so Judi, I got a question for you.
Okay.
We're going to our neurologist visit.
Yep.
What's the first question we're going to get asked?
So any physician's appointment really, but especially a neurologist, they'll always say, "So how have you been, Phil?" And what do you
I'm going to
typically
go,
say?
well, I'm a pretty optimistic person, so I'm going to go, I've been good. I've been really good. But
Exactly.
if it were some of my other friends, they may go through a list of terrible things.
Or like your mom.
Or my
God love
mom
her.
was the world's worst for that. There was never anything good going on.
Right.
So what do we do? How should we be prepared to answer that question?
Yeah, so that's a big question. So your neurologist appointment, even though they're saying, "So how have you been?" they really want to know, how have you been? How's your brain been? How have you been functioning? And you have to keep in mind, how long is your average appointment when you go to a physician? How long does it last?
If I'm in there 15 minutes actually speaking with a physician, it's a miracle.
Yeah, and a neurologist or a specialist appointment might be a little bit longer, but at the most, you have 30, maybe 45 minutes to talk about everything going on in your life and how well your brain is functioning. That's what they're listening for. And you got to realize, to get into a neurologist, even in today's time, even way past COVID, it still takes months, if not over a year, to get back into see a neurologist. So that's a lot of time that you have to summarize. How have you been?
Right. So you want to make sure you're giving them the whole picture, right?
Right.
The good, the bad, the ugly, but most people are going to leave out the good stuff.
Well, and if you're like me, which I tend to be more of a people pleaser, I'm going to try and give it as briefly as possible because I know I'm trying to be appreciative of your time and not take up too much of your time. But yet that's cutting yourself short. What we have to keep in mind is this is your appointment.
Right.
This is the time that you have that they're dedicating for you. They want to hear from you. So they do want to hear. They don't want it just to be all butterflies and flowers. They want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. So I know, there's always a lot of fear and anxiety with any doctor visit, but I would assume the neurology visit could be even worse.
Yeah.
So why is it important? It's kind of, you need to let yourself feel that and know that that's okay, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you're going in and you're talking about a scary subject, your brain. One, we don't know a lot about our brains. We're not always taught a lot about our brains. And what we do know, especially with age, is that it's expected your brain's going to slow down or have problems. And even if you're fearful of, you may be fearful of the diagnosis you're going to get, or you may be fearful of the changes that you're going to share. And so you may not want to share everything. But it's important to acknowledge that this is a scary event. Your neurologist knows that too. They know it's scary. They know it's not, even if you're going in there saying nothing but good news because it has only been good. It's still scary because you want to make sure they understand that and be prepared.
So what are some things that you can do to prepare for that visit?
One is take good notes. Journaling is so critically important. So you want to have a journal that you're consistently doing. And before your visit, you want to have time to reflect back through that journal to have a summary ready to give them of how you're doing, not just the problems you're having, but what are your abilities? What are your strengths? What are you able to do? And then for the problems you're having, if you have been journaling well and tracking things consistently, then hopefully you can tell them other kind of influencers on your cognition that may give you a harder time.
So like if I'm having a hard time with something, I'm also able to provide kind of how I'm dealing with it, right?
Yeah, that's so
which
important.
is a positive part. It's like I'm acknowledging that things are changing. I have some things going on, but I'm also acknowledging that my cognitive abilities are still allowing me to adapt
Yeah.
and thrive.
So let me give you two scenarios.
Okay.
So one, I go in and I say, I'm really struggling going simple things like going to the grocery store. I go in all the time. I come back out. I've forgotten things off my list. I don't remember where my car is. It's just so frustrating and it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So what's that sound like
Yeah,
to you
that
if you were a
sounds,
neurologist?
yeah, it sounds bad. Like
That
you're
sound-
having some major changes here.
Yeah, exactly. And then, or scenario two. Well, I figured out that I'm really having some struggles going to the store, for instance. And so I'll come back out and I was having problems where I was forgetting things, or I'd come back out and it'd take me a long time to find my car and I just didn't know where my car was. But you know what? I worked with my cognitive coach, or I sat down and I figured out if I just take my list in and I make sure I have a list and then I have a highlighter of a different color from my ink that I use and I color things out as I get them, I don't miss things anymore. So I use that tool. And also when I park, I've gotten myself into a habit where I ping myself. So I know exactly where my car is. So when I come back out of the store, I can find my car and I don't have that stress anymore. So I was struggling a little bit, but I also help figure out ways that I can still do what I need to do.
Yeah, so that paints a totally different picture for the neurologist.
Absolutely.
And for yourself. You understand.
Absolutely. You may catch them off guard.
Yeah,
Because I bet
right.
the average patient isn't coming in telling them things like this.
Yeah.
But good for you. And I hope you are doing those kind of things.
So what about bringing someone with you, either a care partner or if you've got a cognitive coach, bringing that person with you? Is that a good idea to bring somebody?
100%. You should always, I mean, even you and I, if we
Yeah.
have anything major going on, we always go with each other.
Right.
Anytime you're going to a visit, but especially one that's going to have nerves attached to it, or you may be sad or upset or fearful, you want to have someone else with you, because if you happen to get a bad diagnosis, if it's the first time you're going, or you just have changes happening, you may get emotional and you're gonna shut down, and you may not capture everything that they're trying to help you with and everything they're trying to tell you. So having your care partner there, someone that you trust, or your cognitive coach with you, really helps you, because they can capture everything that is being said and recommend it, but they can also help tell your story.
Right.
And that's critically important as well.
Yeah, and I assume they're not there to answer for you. They're there to add to what might have been overlooked. Or I know when I go to a doctor visit, I'm always so stressed because they're taking my blood pressure and, oh my God, my blood pressure is going to be high, and it makes it go higher. And then 10 minutes into the conversation, I don't remember anything they've said because I'm still stressed on, is my blood pressure too high?
Yeah.
So having that other person there to just listen,
Yep.
you can actually focus on telling your story and telling what's going on.
Yeah, the big thing that you want to do beforehand is have a conversation with whoever you decide to take with you. A child, a care partner, an adult child, care partner, your spouse, your cognitive coach. Have a conversation of going through your notes, what all you want to make sure that you give as information, and what you want them to be able to share as well. And so it's important when you go into a physician's appointment that if that physician starts talking to your care partner instead of you, call it out. Bring it back to you. And hopefully you've had that conversation with your care partner, so they will always refer it back to you and allow you to answer. Your voice is critically important. And everybody in that appointment, this is your appointment. You need to be sure your voice is heard. But at the same time, they need to also be able to give their information as well as take information back for you.
Gotcha. So, all right, let's get back to this lovely open-ended question. How have you been? So what is the neurologist listening for when you answer that question?
They're listening for stress. They're listening for problems. They're on alert for advances, things that may show advances in any kind of disease process you may be having, or significant changes in cognition. They're used to being one either snowed over with, oh, I'm fine, everything's great, or they have just the opposite, like we were saying earlier, where everyone's like doom and gloom and everything, just the bad things. So it's really important during the visit, you're telling your problems, but also your abilities. What are you still doing fine? What are you still able to do? What activities are you staying engaged with? Especially ones like, have you given a presentation? Have you spoken in front of a group? Have you gone on a trip? And how's that trip gone? Have you, whatever you're doing that gives another layer of information to your neurologist on how well your brain is working is critically important, just as important as it is sharing the areas that you have problems with. Both are very important.
Yeah, because I know, from the neurologist standpoint, I assume they're looking for like big red flags. Like, do I need to do more testing? Does this person need more medication? Mm-hmm. So if you don't give them that whole picture, they may just hear the negative and immediately jump to, okay, we need to do more testing or you need more medication.
Yeah, great point you brought up that made me think about something when you said medication. So just as important as what medications that you're on, maybe from your neurologist, if anything has changed in any other medications you're taking, you want to make sure the neurologist is aware of that, but that you're also asking the question, do any of these medications have a side effect of cognitive impairment or memory problems or sleep disturbance or anything that could impact your brain? You want to have that discussion, and then you'll weigh out the pros and cons. If it does, and it's a medication you absolutely need for the pros, then you got to recognize the problems it's giving you and how to work around it. Or if there's a switch that you can do a different medication, you want to go for that as well.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why we talked about this before. Your pharmacist is your best friend.
Yep.
Your pharmacy will sit down and look at all your medications, and they can tell you if anything's interacting or what the side effects are. So that may be something you want to do before you even go to your neurologist. Have your list of medications that you're already taking, so you're knowing, hey, if we're adding something to this, how's it going to affect it?
Excellent point. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you, I know, go to doctor's appointments with some of your clients as their cognitive coach. What have your experiences been recently with those visits?
Well, keep in mind, this is not, we are not against doctors. They are brilliant. They have a lot of great information, but no one person can always be on the cutting edge of any information about any kind of disease process.
Right.
So keep that in mind. The last couple of visits I've been to, one was at a memory clinic and one was at a neurologist appointment. Great appointments, great information. But we walked out in both scenarios with discussing medications and testing, but nothing around all of the other holistic approaches that the latest research is really chattering a lot about the impacts of holistic approaches that are non-pharmaceutical that have a 45% chance of reducing the risk of dementia or slowing down the disease process.
Wow.
And neither one of those appointments had any discussion around it. It just was baffling to me, honestly.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I think that they are very busy, so they just may not have, and to be honest with you, there's not a lot of programs out there getting very specific on what those holistic approaches are.
Right.
We know exercise, we know diet, but really getting into the specifics around it and asking the questions. I'd love to see, okay, tell me about your diet. Let's look at your lab results. I'd love to see a neurologist really feed all that in together. Let's look at your lab results. Let's look at how we looked at your hormones. Let's see how your hormones are influencing you. And have that holistic approach to it would be incredible.
Yeah.
But that's why if you have a cognitive coach or you're one of my clients, I'll go with you because that's what we do. We look at the holistic side. And to me, that makes up the whole pie.
Right.
So you have the neurology part, the medication side, the neuroscience side, then you also have the holistic side. Together is the perfect picture.
Perfect. All right, so let's talk. One thing that I know you're huge on with your clients is journaling.
Yes.
So what are the benefits and why is that such a strong tool?
So one of the things that I love to do with my clients is they start journaling every day. And journaling, yes, writing things out, but we also have a daily tracker where we track things like sleep. And if you wear like a watch or a ring or whatever you wear, and it gives us more sleep information, particularly around your deep sleep and your REM sleep, It's really critically important to your brain function. So we want to know that. But also your diet, how much exercise and how often are you exercising? And what are you doing for your brain every day as far as exercising your brain? Why that's important, even though for most of my clients, day in and day out, it gets to be pretty routine.
Right.
But once in a while when that blip happens and there's a problem, or during the holidays, we're just coming out of the holidays. During the holidays, when social schedules are crazy and routines are out the window, will often see a blip where cognition is more problematic. The nice thing with tracking it day in and day out, then you see it come right back up in most of the cases. As long as you're seeing that rebound effect happen pretty quickly, that's a great sign. So we all get stressed out. And when we get stressed out, we all have the same impact to our brains.
Right.
When you're having cognitive changes already, that impact is twice as much.
Yeah.
So what we want to see is that rebound effect. By tracking it every day and journaling, you start to see not only for yourself, so you can have that confidence that, okay, I am having a hard time. Let's keep it where it is. I know it's a busy schedule, but let's see if we rebound. As long as we come back and rebound, that's a great sign. The neurologist needs to know that.
Right.
So especially when you have appointments coming out of like busy times like the holidays, and you may be feeling really down because you haven't been exercising as much, and you know you were struggling more. If you're going in and only painting that picture, it's problematic because they're automatically going to think you're progressing.
Right.
But if you're able to go in and especially take your tracking with you and your journaling with you and show them, I'm right back up. And this is what I typically do. I got back into my exercise. I'm doing my brain exercises every day. And look, my reaction times are back up. I'm right back where I need to be. That's a confidence builder and gives the neurologist confidence that you're managing yourself really well.
And I would even say, even if you're still in the low point of that, you're able to still tell them, look, I know why I'm at this point, and here's what I'm going to do, and I'll be back up in a couple of days.
Yes.
So that just lets them know you are completely aware of everything going on around you.
Yeah, you're empowered.
Right.
You know yourself. You know and your care partner knows too, which also helps your family members know and those around you understand that I may be struggling today, but that doesn't mean I've taken a deep dive off.
Yeah.
That just means, okay, I just need to step back and reset.
So I know you mentioned journaling things or tracking things like your sleep and stress levels, that thing. What are, I'm assuming you want to journal good things. The good things you're doing.
Absolutely. Did you take a trip over the holidays? And how well did you do with that trip? Did you pack your own stuff? Did you have any major blips? Are you still driving? What tools are you using? All of those good kind of things are also important to have.
Great. All right, so let's talk about a cognitive care team or cognitive coach.
Yeah.
Is it important? I know it is. To bring updates from them. Just like any other doctor you may go to, you always want to have your doctor have all the information.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming having that information from your cognitive team is super important.
Yeah, you want to bring in your whole picture. So even though they're focusing on neurology side, you want them to see all aspects of it. So we call it your Thrive network. Anybody that's in your Thrive network, your cognitive coach, your occupational therapist, your physical therapist, whoever it may be, bring their updates. You know when your appointments come in. Make sure they know when your appointments come in, and they can give you any testing that's needed. And then they can summarize everything into a report that you can take for the neurologist, and then that will become part of your record.
Gotcha.
Again, controlling your medical record to be the most accurate reflection of your abilities as well as your problems.
So speaking of medical records, let's talk about testing.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about why it's so important, and it's okay for you to tell the neurologist, hey, slow down, I can't understand you, or I don't hear you well. Tell me why that's important to make sure you're getting that accurate.
Okay, so here's one thing to know. Standardized tests are those tests that you go in, or screeners even, are those tests that have been researched and completed on a gabillion people so that they can get standards and understand where the diagnoses may be or where you're falling out on whatever scale it may be measuring. That's important for your insurance. They still rely a lot on that for payment. So, of course, they're going to rely on that. Research it's really important for. But keep in mind that standardized testing is only as good as the tester presenting the information to you and as well as you're feeling on that particular day. If you have been coming out of the flu or you have been sick, or you have white coat syndrome where you just get super nervous in a testing situation or with a physician, your test scores may reflect that negatively.
Right.
Or if you forgot your hearing aids, or it takes you a little more time to process information, don't be afraid to tell your testing person, I need you to repeat that, please.
Yeah.
Or can you slow down, please?
Right.
Or it may take me just a few minutes longer. So if you can give me extra time, I appreciate that. It's really important because what you want to do is get the most accurate picture, again, of your functioning. There's been a great wave lately of specialists and conferences I've been to where we're all around like-minded people. And the acknowledgement that standardized tests don't always accurately reflect abilities.
Right.
It looks at disabilities in that particular situation. But to have a holistic approach, you need to know the standardized test as well as how is that person functioning. So what are you testing? And then using those same areas that you're testing in real life, how are they functioning? That's a better indication of how well you're doing.
Yeah. So I think most importantly is just remember how long you waited on that appointment.
Great
So
point.
slow them down and make sure you're getting your valuable time and you're getting the testing done correctly.
Yeah.
And so, all right, so you get the test results, right?
Uh-huh.
So what do you do with them? It's like, should you go through them? Are these accurate? Can you change it? I know you know the medical record
Great
follows
point.
you everywhere.
Yeah. Medical record follows you everywhere. And just the point that you made there, whether it's a physician's appointment or testing, make sure you get a copy of that visit summary or the testing summary. Whatever is being written up about you in your medical record, that's your medical record. You have a right to have that. And it's proven that in 20% of the cases of those records, they're wrong. They include inaccuracies.
Yeah, because it's a human being listening and interpreting what you're saying.
Yes.
So, and they're on a computer and, I make mistakes typing things all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's reality.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, because of how fast everything is in this world today, you, again, be empowered, ask for it, and then review it. If you find errors, call that office back and tell them there are errors in here. I had one client that had 11 errors just in the medical history they gave of their family.
Wow.
11 errors. And,
That's crazy.
so it's important because, again, that report's going to follow you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to make sure it's right.
Yeah, and like we had talked earlier about the baseline. Everything is dealing with what is your baseline. What is your baseline?
Yep.
And you talked a little bit about suppose the information's not correct and your baseline's lower than it should be. Well, then they're not getting you better. They're trying to get you to an inaccurate baseline.
Absolutely.
So that's not good.
No, I mean, in fact, I used to manage therapy departments, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy in my prior life, I like to say. And I used to always tell the therapists, we were in nursing home settings, and I used to always say, is the patient plateauing or are you reaching the end of your creativity? Because if you're running out of steam, let's rotate that patient to another therapist because whatever you're writing, that will forever be their new baseline, and no one will ever try and excel them past that.
Right.
Because that's what insurance gears you towards. So make sure that when you get your records that you're not getting shortchanged.
Right. Okay, so all great information. So that's one of the things I love about what you do with your clients. Everything is so personalized because you do understand the importance that we are not by any means alike. And when it comes to dementia and cognitive decline, everybody's different. So it's really important for you to find an advocate and find somebody that listens to you and actually understands what you're telling them and then puts things in action to help you cope with that.
Yeah, it's one of the saddest things that ever happens to me is when someone says, they didn't explain this to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You mean I could have been fighting against this all along? Or when they come to me after they've been living with a diagnosis for years. I've had several clients that have been living with a diagnosis that they supposedly had, and when I tested them, they never had that diagnosis.
Right.
And then that was followed up and confirmed with the memory clinic, retesting them. So make sure that you're getting what you need. This is your one life, your one time around this world. And you've got to make sure that you're your best advocate. And you want people on your Thrive network that are all your best advocates. So they're there. You just have to find them.
All right. So great information. Prepare for your neurology visits. You wait on it a long time. So make sure you get your time and get everything out of it you deserve. So we appreciate you listening to this podcast and watching it. Please subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts from, and visit Cogni-Thrive.com for more information on Judi's cognitive coaching, speaking, anything you need. Judi, it was always a pleasure.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening, and remember, we are not physicians, and you should always consult your doctor about what treatment is best for you. Please visit www.cogni-thrive.com to learn more about our services or to book Judi to speak at your next event.